is The Big Picture, episode number 57.
And this is where we help you see,
think, and act big. And today, our guest is, what can I say? She's a multi-passionate person, right? So she runs her own business. At the same time, she's growing a community. So get to know our guest for today. She is one of the one of the founders of the Story Night Cebu. What else, Dave?
Yeah, she's been very active now. If you follow her on Instagram, Facebook, so she's been everywhere, and she just came from last year from the US.
Right.
Studied there abroad. Wow. And also she started Tribes at PH.
Right.
So you can check it out, and today we have her because we want to learn more about how to build your tribes.
Oh. Hi, Rachel.
Hey Joseph, hey Dave. Thank you
How
for
are you?
having me. I'm good.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
And we've been wanting you to be in the podcast for a long time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Finally.
Yes, and for those people who, obviously you have a good following in social media, but for those people who didn't know you, can you just give a brief, introduction about yourself?
Okay.
How do you want other people to know you?
Sure. Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm an entrepreneur, a creative entrepreneur. I must say, I have an MBA, but I'm also right-brained. So my experience are generally in business, in entrepreneurship, and also in creative in marketing. So a lot of the businesses that I do now is based on creative and marketing. Yeah. So I delve into printing, and they're all related anyway.
There's one thing.
Yeah, advertising, creative.
Oh, it's creative.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Right. So, Rach, we bring you here, and we want to zoom in specifically on finding your tribe. Primarily because a lot of the people online didn't talk so much about tribe, but you do. You do incorporate that in many things that you do. Whether you're building a community or you're running a business, why? What's a tribe? Let's delve with that.
A tribe is like a community, a wider community, glued by maybe a special one cause, one interest, let's say, and by one leader as well. So it can be any interest. It can be in business. It can be in cryptocurrency. This is in the concept of modern tribes.
Modern tribe. Yeah.
Before, a tribe is more demographic or location based, right? Like a village or smaller than that even. But now, enabled by the internet, enabled by technologies, we can now find different tribes of various, topics or interests or very niche things.
Right. In your case, can you share a little bit about the specific tribes you're part of?
A lot. That's what I am all over the place, basically. But now I'm trying to focus in on business right now. But I like to do a lot of things. Outside of business, I like surfing, I like pole dancing, I like salsa dancing.
Salsa, yes.
Yeah, I like a lot of things anyway. But per tribe, there's always that specific group of people that you connect with. Na ay representative people, let's say salsa, I think of Jilly.
Right.
Of pole, there's Phil, Ibanez. So, muna siya nag-represent a certain tribe. Ako, basically me, I'm more of a connector. I like going to different tribes, but then to be in the center of a tribe, actually. I'm trying to do that with story nights. So that's what I'm also trying to create, to foster the storytelling community. But at the same time, I like to be as diverse as I can, because you can always learn something from anyone. And that's what I learned from, or get back from these different tribes that I try to get myself into.
Right. So my understanding with tribe is that it's naturally occurring, and it's driven by certain interests, and people normally thrive in the community. They're very passionate about that specific thing that glued them together, right? Why do you think it's important as a businesswoman? Why do you think it's important to pay attention about these things, like the certain tribe in your in this industry?
because not only will they be your greatest customers, let's say in business, that they can also be your greatest marketers. So word of mouth is very powerful, and they themselves will become it's like a cult already. They will.
I love cults.
Yes, like the Apple cult.
Yeah. It's strong following. They're so passionate about Apple. People will defend Apple with their lives sometimes.
Exactly. And this kind of marketing is fostered or created not by Apple themselves, diba? But by this tribe, this Apple tribe, that they were able to create through, through fostering or through supporting these.
Yeah, and tribes, I feel like it's more of really about the people, right? Of how you were able to move these people into one vision, like the salsa. I mean, it's amazing right now that they were like, I can hear like everyone's like into
Were you
it.
able to attend?
Salsa night.
I wasn't there last night, but yeah, there were like this event that everyone was like, oh, it's so hype and it's so good. But it's amazing how you can create that by the word of mouth that you mentioned earlier.
And that was non-existent, let's say 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And then now it's big. Everyone, if they come to Cebu, it's one of the hot spots that you must check out when you're in Cebu City. So just a shout out to Cebu Salsa Club and Jilly and John. Hi.
Hi guys.
Yes.
Great job.
Yeah. So, the reason why I ask about that is because I feel like Facebook is trying to what do you call this? Like, make it easier for us to build tribes with like Facebook group, for example, right? And it's very specific to like, for example, in my case, if there's something I'm passionate about, I would definitely like look for a group that's there online and just connect. Recently, I've been a little bit hooked to running, so I searched online and then I did found my running team. Right.
How about intermittent fasting, right?
Intermittent fasting is a good example. Like Dennis
Jump
is
really
how do you call the guy that like kind of enables the tribe, like builds the tribe?
Yeah,
like,
she kind of mentioned earlier.
What's that?
Do you have a term for that?
Like,
I don't know.
Tribe master.
founder, like
Tribe leader. Let's
Tribe
say.
leader, yeah.
So Dennis Jump is a tribe leader for intermittent fasting. Shout out to you, Sir Dennis. If, we're gonna see you in May 10, right? He's speaking in Story Nights. So where else going with that? Anyway, so there you go.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. So like you can just easily like create those tribes, and a lot of on the flip side, a lot of companies actually create their like fake tribes. They try to create a group, and there isn't just much passion to it. Can you actually like fake a tribe?
That's a hard question. That's an interesting question also, actually. We, as much as possible, tribes has to be organically grown, but of course, a lot of brands and marketers are trying to create a foster community right now. But normally, it can start as that, but then normally it grows into something on its own. It takes a life on its own. Tribe. It can be as sometimes it's not. Sometimes it becomes bigger than one expects, or sometimes it doesn't.
Nobody would follow it.
Yeah,
right? So it's kind of because it's organic in nature. It's probably difficult to predict how it will grow or where it will go, and plus it involves a lot of people who kind of responsible for the tribe. I remember one of the famous people that kind of proliferated this idea was there's a guy by the name of Seth Godin, and he has a book called Tribes, right? And he did say that like because of the there is no, you mentioned I'm backing up. You mentioned that 7 years ago it's not even known to have like a salsa tribe, but now it's kind of more. There's more people who are building their own tribe organically. Do you kind of like see what's the reason why like people want to be part of a tribe, sometimes unknowingly, right?
Yeah. Personally, also I have my own story.
Right.
When I moved to the States to take up my last exchange MBA, I lived in Philly, and it was pretty hard to find friends, friends outside of work or outside of school.
Yeah.
So you look at the interests first. And for me, because I was in business school, I was in Wharton,
You were in Wharton.
Yeah.
Nice.
The demographic male to female ratio is so many.
Small male.
Yeah, more of course, business school.
Yeah. Business school.
Maybe 60% male, 40% female. So I had a hard time looking for girlfriends, and what I really wanted to do then. So I looked up for communities that would involve female
Right.
activities. So that's how I
Ballet.
yoga.
Yoga. Right.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking about which is more
Yeah.
more something that with more female in it.
Yes, and I got into pole dancing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so that's
Definitely,
when
it's gonna be difficult for a guy.
to get into that.
Okay,
Yeah. Although the tribe leader in
Is a guy.
the pole dancing
It's a guy.
tribe here is a guy,
Yeah.
Phil.
Wow.
But anyway, so that's how. Wait, what was your question?
Yeah. So my question was, why do you think there's there's more move to build the different tribes? It's kind of like a movement now. There's a certain interest and people would go around that and then build a Facebook group and like my running team, for example, they started with a couple of guys and then we're now 30 people,
Yeah.
in just short period of time. So why? And I can see that in different movement. Like Kenji De Guzman is now building his own tribe for Cebu meditation, and there's hundreds of people would go and flock there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can see that. So this is not a case where it's just bits and pieces. Dili siya tinagsalaman. There's bits and pieces out there that's growing.
Yeah. Okay. Now I remember where I'm getting at. Yeah. I forgot for a while, but now I remember.
Yeah, I asked a lot of long questions, so long-winded questions, so you get lost away.
Yeah. So I think it's natural for us humans to want to belong to something. I think that's the greatest feeling siguro of a human being, to feel that they belong to something, like a special cause, or to be connected to someone authentically. And again, well, there's the first place, second place, third place, right? Where the first place is home, second place is work, third is where coffee shops or where
Right.
people can engage, parks can engage and find their own societies. So I guess that's the importance of tribes now, really, to feel that human validation, that you are connected, that there is someone like you, or that you are glued to a certain cause that you actually believe in. Yeah.
Right. It's so weird. Like one of my friends, she has her own tribe for knitting.
Oh, knitting. Wow.
Yeah.
And now also the coffee tribe. We're now at Outspace.
Yeah.
Coffee tribe is growing here in Cebu, like new wave coffee.
Right.
It's amazing how people are so dedicated, so obsessed with coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, putting it into this perspective that, years ago, you can't find this kind of this kind of community. Finding them everywhere is you can't hear from them. Maybe because of the internet, probably, right? The Facebook communities. And the thing is, if you're someone who's still looking for that, or if you're if you're still living in a cave, sometimes the big thing recently is the mental health thing. We have depression and all of that. But for me personally, it really helped. I'm also had a issue with that before.
Right.
But recently I've been involved in being part of communities. You could start with a church or
Right.
or you could start with Toastmasters or stuff like that. So basically, in today's world, there are so many tribes that you can be part of, and I suggest that if you're someone who hasn't done that yet, haven't done that yet, you can basically search online. You can find those community there, and they're very helpful. Like Rachel here started story nights, right? So if you want to get into that tribe, you can just join
and
be
tribes
part
that
of it.
page. My understanding is you guys are highlighting these different tribes around the country, under the
Cebu first,
Cebu
yeah.
first, right? So, what did you find out? What are the tribes that you thought didn't exist but it's actually here?
Yeah. So interesting stuff like that. Yeah.
For one, the podcasting tribe.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That's how I got to know Dave, actually. So I reached out to him late last year.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about that there is a podcasting community here and it's thriving. And of course, you guys were seeing that building or expanding the podcasting community further. So I did meet a lot of people who are very passionate in their own niche, interests. and I learned a lot. You know, again, for me, everyone has a story to tell. Everyone can teach you anything, even if they're so different from you or they look different from you. There's something that you can take away from what you learn from them, and maybe you might not be a podcaster, you might not be into dancing, but whatever you take from them, you can learn and apply in your life. So yeah, that's what Tribe Speech was about. I mean, first it started like as for selfish reasons actually, because I just I just moved back here,
Right.
basically, and I had to start everything from scratch,
ground zero. Yeah.
And I didn't know anyone except, you know, my friends who I've known for the longest time, 10 years, and I wanted to explore Cebu again.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that is through communities. It doesn't have to be like, let's say, my community in San Carlos, Tagamban. I mean, of course, I've known them for the longest time, but I wanted to expand, and that's how I founded Tribes, and I was very interested in these modern communities. Yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's Tribes doing now? Like you know, what's the future of Tribes?
We're still involving in events that create tribes, of course, and promoting tribes, again, with podcasting and a whole other clubs, let's say. We do events, also niche events like story nights, logos nights.
You did one where you have two Indian guys.
Yes,
Did-
that was for meditation.
Oh
Also.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So that
Saw
was
you guys dancing. Yeah.
yes, it's a vegan, and that's
Vegan.
also
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. IF is something that I would like to cover next, by the way. But
It's a big tribe. It's a huge tribe. Like I can't believe when I went to the group, I can't believe like they're so engaged. There's like new posts, like multiple, like maybe like a lot of posts every single day from different people. And this is where you know that this group is gonna grow much bigger because they're not only like sharing their stories, but they're inspiring other people who are still starting.
yeah.
So I was there and I was learning things that I would not have known on my own. So it was really cool to be part. Well, I guess I'm part of that IF tribe now, but it's Dennis Shonko who's basically mobilized that thing.
Yeah. So in terms of business, like we've mentioned, this great leaders, right? The tribe leaders who built this tribe, and they're the connectors. They're the center of it most of the time,
Center of
right?
the universe.
The center of it, right? There has to be a leader, right? So what's the benefit in terms in the business side? What's the benefit of starting your own tribe or being part of the center core team for that?
For one, of course, if you start something, if you lead something, you're going to be the point person of power, of influence, or the resource person. People are going to come up to you. That let's say again, let's go back to podcast. Podcast. I'm going to think of Joseph and Dave first in mind. And being first in mind is also very good in business, right? Like, again, if you think about your brands, if you say toothpaste, first in mind is, what is
Happy.
it?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
especially with let's say a niche interest where it's just starting,
Yeah.
IF is new, let's say, or podcasting is new, to be in that space early on and to lead that space early on is very powerful for you as a business, let's say, because people are going to think of you first in mind.
Yeah. So you're someone who started your own tribe, like Story Nights, right? It's. Have you ever felt it was like no one's supporting you at first? Is that normal, or is it what?
Or
have you
was there so much support that
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
or is it
surprised
the
you?
other way around?
Or are you not gonna answer that question because that's so much?
Let me say, at first people are not aware with the concept of storytelling, I guess. So there has to be a lot of effort on your side to educate as well. They're all excited by the idea, but then they don't know how it goes. So I'm going to tell them, tell a story. There's not going to be PowerPoint, a deck. But then people are going to be, what? How am I going to present? No, there's going to be... with stories.
I'm gonna throw away my 150 slides.
Like 2,000 years ago, let's say, stories are a very ancient human activity. It's innate for us to tell stories. And before 2,000 years ago, we're in a bonfire. There's no such thing as a deck, diba? We use our voice, we use our eye contact, body language. We use those things to effectively tell a story to influence the listeners. It's you kind of become like the shaman or the magician, where people are enthralled by what you say and what you give to them, the information you give to them. And I think from there, from these stories, they become fables, they become legends that a certain tribe upholds to.
Yeah.
Diba? And then later on, as the tribe becomes bigger, it became a civilization. These stories, these group of stories became more complex. Like there's mythology now, and then religion. So, and then now I think the world of finance, economy, government, or politics, they're all a system of stories.
Yeah.
More complex, but they're essentially still the same. It's all stories that bind people and create a tribe. So.
Right. Yeah, before we move forward, right? So let me just thank Outspace
Thank you.
Yes.
for our side crew. Just kidding, guys. Outspace, thank you guys for having us here. You know, if you don't know where it is, it's in Jerusalem Street, and let's look for Z Plaza.
Yeah.
Second
Second floor.
And so we're here in a very nice venue. Thank you guys. Thank you, Angela, Jimbo,
For having us. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
for having us. All right, Rach. So let's talk about let's allow us to move closer. In a more personal sense, like
Oh, personal.
yeah, because we're looking at your endeavors now, right? So not that close, but like what are the like if you were to you mentioned that you were working on different things, right? So what are the like if you were to think about like 2 things or 3 things that you think that you're really focusing on now, what are those, and why are you picking them over the other things that you probably like?
Okay. Not so much. Okay, now it's more for me. As we grow older, of course, I wanted to be as diverse as I can before.
Right.
I wanted to do a lot of things, sports, hobbies, business. But as you grow older, you don't want to spread yourself too thin, and now you want to grow something. You want to be more focused. And for me, the 3 things is probably entrepreneurship, Cebu,
Yeah.
creative.
All right.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you're, and then what particular companies and brands are they represent now in your life?
In my life, okay, I have a print company, which
The
is
graphic-
Graphic 9, a
Graphic
creative
9.
agency.
Right.
Marketing website, Tribes
Tribes PH, yeah.
or we also do marketing services. So those are the main 2, and I'm slowly growing my portfolio still in the creative side, because I believe that. Why are you laughing?
Cebu.
has a rich talent pool of creatives.
Yeah.
And-
That's true.
We're even featured on Netflix. Just kidding.
It's
Yeah,
food, yes.
The food.
And I think, being in this space and looking at the trajectory of the growth, we're growing at 7% per year for the last 7 years, Philippines, I mean, but
Growth in what particular
economic growth.
GDP?
Economic growth. Manila has its own strengths, no? But Cebu also, it's growing, the BPO side, etc. But we have so many creatives who don't know how to price themselves well,
Wow, yeah.
who, are taken advantage of maybe or something. So I wanted to focus on that particular thing. And of course, stories. Stories, definitely. I write. That's really my dream to be a writer. So I still come back to that.
Was your book released already? by the
This
way?
year, by the
This
way.
year.
What's it called? Sorry, I'm not updated.
It's
What's
a
that?
travel book, an
Yeah.
anthology of travel stories, and it's entitled Postcards from Elsewhere.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
My stories from US, Asia, Europe. So it will be there soon. Published by D&Co.
Yeah.
Hi, Donald.
Shout out Donald.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna share the link.
Yeah, soon.
Yeah.
So we're gonna update the link in our show notes page.
So I think stories. I think the real allure of stories is it's not hard sell.
That's true.
It's
Everybody, like a lot of people, well, almost everybody I know like stories, and then I think that's gonna be that has been the way for us to connect as human beings back then when pre-internet. And I still remember when I was very young, we, so you'll know how old I was. There was no electricity in the house. There's only electricity in the post back then.
Wow.
This is 1945, guys. World War II hasn't happened. Just kidding. So, but back then in the province, there was only electricity in the poste, and what we actually do there is just we would huddle and tell stories.
Amazing. That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Story Nights version 1.
So
Negative
free
zero.
television.
Negative 5. Really now? That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I think it's now we are there is, like internet just gave us like this huge megaphone.
Yeah.
And I think it's still gonna be this thing that would bind us together. There's the stories that we tell. Like here in the big picture, we talk about stories.
We always start with stories, yeah.
Right.
With the story of people. Yeah.
Origin stories. Right? In our space, we talk about stories also while drinking our coffee. All right. So it's really cool to listen to you and and like, listen to how passionate you are in terms of like helping.
Yeah.
I guess giving voice to people who didn't have the opportunity or who didn't realize that they have the opportunity to like, talk about.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing because I believe like people have heard about podcasting through you, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
first
You
we're
were
really
there,
struggling. Like we haven't connected with a lot of podcasters here now. That's like we have a couple of podcasts who started last year.
Right. Yes.
Just because of probably through Rachel or I don't know
Yeah.
because of the postings and all of that. So it's amazing how we can really help each other
Yeah.
with building our own tribes.
Yeah, we have to thank you about that. Like, thank you that you were there during our training, and and it was. I was just wondering, honestly, in my mind, Rachel, you were there and you were covering the whole thing, right? And my mind is like, why would she do that? Like,
Yeah.
you
It's the
didn't
same
know
thing, I
us.
guess, with us, right? Like we're highlighting people, we're trying to,
Right.
And some people ask us actually
Why
like
we're
why we're
doing
doing this, why are we wasting our time? But I mean, it's a great
Wasting
way to learn, learn, and I hope that our audience would be able to see as well, the passion of people here coming here in the show, and also it's really awesome that you've mentioned. You want to highlight those people, specifically in Cebu. I mean, we have a lot of amazing people here, and probably doesn't know how to price themselves, how to position themselves, and
Right.
yeah, it's amazing.
I remember. Sorry, I remember Jude. Jude Crisostomo. You both know him, right? So I love his work also, and like he always talk about local talents, and now that you mention it, like I realized we need more spotlight in this area because we don't really know what's out there in terms of how our work is being valued from a more, I would say, international perspective, because we only see it like here or.
And I think I've heard it from you, Rachel, that about how you can't find like a digital marketing here in, a good one here in Cebu, right? You might want to share about that. No offense to our.
Please elaborate.
No, what I really meant there was that.
Did you actually said
No,
that?
not per.
Not on that verbatim, but
Yeah.
no, there are a lot of good.
There are a lot of good ones, but we can't find them, right?
No, the thing is, okay.
Just kidding.
A lot of the marketing efforts now are creative based, which is not measurable, and I think that's what is missing. I think that's what I wanted to have a creative edge on, to have data, because my background is creative and business and data. So I wanted to marry both. You can tell there's such a thing, now as data storytelling. Like we have this
What's
big,
that?
we have this big mass. Many companies can get data, diba? But it's just, what use is all that data if you cannot piece a story through it? You don't need all the data. You just need to pick, what's essential and derive, what do you call that? Your own realizations
Right.
there. Let's say.
So it's like from a quantified,
Yeah.
like I don't know, digits or something,
Yes.
data, then we make it into a story.
Yeah, something like that. But then again, with marketing, a lot of the things we do are still old school. People still don't measure it. Like it looks pretty, it looks creative, but then how effective is it? So that's what I wanted to have a voice into as well. Again, just a good balance between creative and being data driven, which is
scientific
which
approach.
is, exactly. So it's not left brain against right brain or creative against analytical.
Both marrying each other.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
But I really do like, there's so many talented marketers and marketing agencies. I also wanted to impart, let's say, what I know about data or using data to enrich marketing campaigns further. So just that, more, again, nowadays data analysts and marketers, creative marketers are seen as different departments, but they don't need to be. It has to be a good marriage for them, for them to create results that are valuable, of course, or effective to the brands that they will be catering to.
Okay. So before we kind of segue to the next part, before we move to the next part of the show, Rach, we will not let you go without answering the question, which is actually the title of this episode. How do you find your tribe?
What did I do and how I look?
Yes, please.
Facebook is really number one. Crowdsourcing is the easiest one. Facebook events and blogs, websites.
Just show up. Show up there.
Yeah, you show up.
Push yourself.
Here's the thing though. A lot of we're scared of getting scammed or getting being in an awkward situation where you get into this expecting this would be the tribe that you're looking for. Like a lot of financial stuff are going on. No offense to networking, but sometimes they do that. They have this financial thing going on. Like, how can you tell if is it all about taking risk or is just
Is it like dating? It's like dating a group of people.
I'm being catfished by a networking group. Yeah, you know catfish, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like putting up a fake profile on a dating app.
Yeah.
Like you look pretty, but then in person.
Yeah, sure.
It's like you're being catfished. Yeah, I think. Well, due diligence. Do your due diligence. Ask people. Thankfully now again, the internet has enabled us to be more connected. Both ways actually. It has made us more isolated and at the same time connected. So it can be a friend or a foe. Again, nowadays people, the more we progress our technologies and the more advanced our societies, we're still a developing country, emerging country, but if you look at the developed countries, depression is high, isolation is high. So anyway, the more we progress to that, the more isolated we become. And because
that's the reason. Do you know?
Because technology makes it seem like we don't need other people anymore. Yeah. Right now, I don't know if I can say this, but let's say there's can I say?
Go ahead.
Let's say sex. It's replaced now by porn, or there's VR sex now. Have you heard of that or not?
What's that?
VR.
Virtual reality.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
But that you don't need the human touch.
So it's just like technology is trying to replace intimacy, physical touch,
human connection.
human connection. Yeah.
But again.
And it makes you feel like you're so close, tangent to the real thing.
Yeah.
But it's not the real thing.
Like you have a date with a person or you meet a person, but then you're still on each other's phones. So
you're recently,
Yeah.
That's like what's happening now.
Uh-huh.
A lot of us.
Not for Dave, not for Joe, not for us.
You have to put the phone down when you're someone.
And again, now that I'm thinking about it, screen time is a fairly new concept, right? Like 5 years ago, no one would think about screen time na i-measure how much.
Yeah, I've been doing that.
Yeah, you've been doing it, right?
To limit my use of the phone.
Exactly,
Yes.
but so people see that there is like a downside to technology, which is isolating. But again, at the same time, technology could also help you enable. And I think through that, I mean, who would know? Ako, for me, let's say if not for Facebook, I would not be able to find very niche types like gaming or
Right.
certain tribes that are what people are into this,
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
It-
there.
it's so weird because like I don't know, when I was growing up, I usually have like maybe 4 or 5 close friends, growing up, and I get to relate to these people. And now I have like 4,000 friends, which is like the weird part, right? You have 4,000 friends in your Facebook list, but then you still go back to that 4 or 5 people that you kind of have close connection with.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we're kind of thirsty for, because it's like we feel we're longing for that connection. We're longing for that I would say, like deep, like a deeper connection than just like like a lot of people have probably like 4 or 5,000 friends in their Facebook list, but then by the end of the day, every Friday they're still gonna go back to that like 5-6 people which is their real friends.
True.
Where they can find more connection than the rest of the like 4,000 plus friends. So that's the irony of it. But then, to your point, we can actually extend that through asking the question of like, what do I love? What makes me come alive? And within the area that I'm in, within Cebu City, how many people are in Cebu? Maybe what, 5 million? Oh no, maybe 7 million. Yeah. So out of the 7 million, who has the same feeling and connection that I have? I will go back to, for example, the tribe, the current tribe that I'm in now, which is my running team. Shout out to Bark, the breakaway runners. So when we get together, we always talk about running and the next run and the next.
Yeah.
It feels great because we have that kind of affiliation, that close affiliation to something that's special to all of us, and it's that running that binds us together. The stories around running, and so I think that's why we're living in there's so much irony basically, but the good thing is that we can always. There's a lot of people would say like there's a downside to technology, and I agree with that. Like kids now needs to be controlled. You have to take the phones away from like I'm speaking to as a personal experience. I would take phones from my family, from my kids, and primarily because it hinders them from developing like real relationship within the house. So it's kind of weird that they're there but they're connected to someone else and like to someone else's show. I don't know. It could be Ryan. Ryan Toy Review.
Of course I do. Yeah. I have a kid.
Yes, yeah, exactly, right.
Inspired.
Sometimes they're as close as Ryan. They know what Ryan wants. Yeah. Momo.
The scary thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. But you know what I'm saying, Rach? Like your kids knows where Ryan lives, how big Ryan's house is, like what are the games that Ryan plays, and they're building this pseudo relationship with Ryan. But Ryan could never talk to them back. It's just through the videos. But the thing is like, and going back to I'm gonna plug here. But then because of Ryan, like when we started posting about our vlogging workshop, people who are kids, I've seen Ryan, I want to do the same thing, and these people get connected because of that thing called vlogging, or called Ryan, the show called Ryan. So yeah, it's a weird, nice place, and depending on how you look at it, you can either take advantage of it or make the most out of it. Make the most out of it, or yeah. But it's so weird what you said, like kind of strike me there when you said like in the developing countries there's like higher cases of depression.
Developed, yeah.
Yeah, in developed countries, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not old enough, but like I haven't heard of like that. I felt like there's an increasing number of depression.
Here in Cebu,
Here in
there's
Cebu.
an awareness already.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being depressed, but you see, I'm like, a lot of people get depressed for some reason. I don't know why. Like.
Yeah. Well, for me, again, it's the isolation. I remember just this conversation I have actually with this girl from Norway or Denmark.
Right.
And she was commenting that Asian people are more dependent on their parents and stuff like that. And then my other friend who is from India, he said, you shouldn't say that because you live in Denmark where, let's say, housing is free. Well, basically, they have all the resources, healthcare, everything. The government gives to them. So in that essence, they don't need family anymore. So when they're 16, they can move out and do their own thing. That makes them independent. But really, they're just dependent to government. I'm sorry. But for us, let's say we get cancer, we get cancer, or who funds for our education? It's not the government. It's our families.
It's our family, yeah.
And that's why we still need that glue towards our parents, towards our neighbors, and because we need them. We don't have systems in government that are clean, transparent. In order to survive right now in developing countries, we need these social connections.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
In Singapore, there's no such thing as everything works. You see the red light, it's stop. You see the green, it's go.
Right.
It's black and white. But then for us, it's so gray, and then we don't. It's hard to trust everyone.
Yeah, I remember like seeing a green light, and I was the only one on the road, right? And there's like cars who are stopping, was waiting for their light to turn green.
Yeah.
And you know what? Instead of speeding up, I actually slowed down.
Because you're scared.
Because I'm scared that someone might cross that. Somebody's so I actually have to slow down and then beep twice, signaling for people who might break the law that I'm gonna follow the law.
All right. So yeah, we talk about a lot of things. We talk about the different tribes. We talk about the one that you mentioned.
Even cultures, no? Like how people are different. And it's good that within the difference and with the technology that's pointing those out, we can still find our own tribe and find our belongingness to something. And I think that's really crucial because we need to belong. We need to feel that we need to belong.
Let me ask you, Dave. Like, how did you how do you find your tribe? What's the latest tribe that you've
Recently.
recently.
So I've always been with Toastmasters, right? So
Right.
I find it, I don't know, and you become a part, for me, I need to be part of a tribe. Working as a freelancer online, I just need to get out of the house and be part of something that's bigger than me.
Right.
So with Toastmasters, that group of mine, that my specific club, I love it because I feel valued there. Like your existence really exists.
It matters.
It matters, yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's in life we need to have those. It's not like we're there just because we really need to become like good public speakers or like for you running. I mean, sometimes it's all about belongingness, right?
Yeah, and just you know what? That's a good point because one of my friends from the running club saw me the last. This is a sad story. They saw me the last Cebu Marathon Club, summer marathon ran, Cebu Marathon, and then after the run, I was waiting for. I was looking for friends, like who are people that are running, and nobody's there. So I'm just like busy fidgeting with my phone. But then he said like, "Oh, you come here," and that's when he sent me a message. He said like, "Hey, next time you join us," because and that's exactly the point of being part of the tribe. Like you get to tell your story right after.
People care.
Right. And so the latest one is like Toastmasters.
Yeah, I also have this group by Alvin. So we have this trainers group that we're forming. So it's good.
Network.
Yeah.
Network of trainers. Yeah. GPC also.
Oh yeah. You know, I've updated my life now. The GPC, there's like.
Just tell me what's going on. If you forget something, I'll tell you.
So there's like this group that like. Really, it's basically about that, grateful people and how we're.
Shout out to GPC.
Shout out to GPC, yes. A lot of my friends are there, so amazing. So I like that group, but because it's about you being more aware of the beautiful life that we have, and it's just being grateful. So
Awesome.
yeah.
How about your Rach? Latest one.
Oh, latest one. I've been involved with a lot of the company events.
Oh,
the
yeah.
startups. They have a lot of interesting events, business and culture wise. And I was just listening to what you guys, like, you knew what's happening with him through social media, right? And I just remembered
we
something.
talk.
Oh, okay.
I'm part of his tribe.
Nice. No, but I was thinking, like, nowadays social media and technology, again, it tries to replace these human connections that are ancient and innate. And sometimes nowadays people think that we're connected, but then we're not. You know, ang validation nato is now in likes or views in stories.
Don't say that. That hurts me.
I mean, even
It's okay, man. We don't have likes and views. I'm kidding. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, even for me, but you know, like, just because someone viewed or liked me, sometimes I feel validated, which is not really a real replacement of human connection. And that's what I also wanted to foster again through tribes, through stories, and those things. But yeah, for now, I've been involved with a company, a lot of their events again, and it's just not one event lang, no? In order to create a tribe, it needs to have a follow through, and it has to be omni-channel as well, not just on Facebook, but you have to go to the events, you have to go to actually meeting them, you have to go to...
Takes time.
Yeah, social media, reaching out to the community. Not just one channel where that's social media lang.
Yeah. Or it can be totally offline.
Yeah, it can be, of course. I think that's how you can really organically grow, you know, a tribe. It is through a physical touch.
Yeah. I know this tribe of old women. Not sure.
Titas of Cebu.
But they're talking about, like, you know, they're business women and they have a radio show and they all gather together. I just forgot. I mean, I need to ask Attorney Chappie for that. That was the name of the tribe, but they do meet once a week and they talk about their issues in business. But they're like titas. You have to be a tita in order to be part of the tribe.
Yeah, if you're an entrepreneur, it's very important to talk to other entrepreneurs.
Right.
Sometimes it's a lonely journey, you know, like you have
Say that. I'm not
Yeah, I would agree to that.
Well, you have employees, you have
Si Jimbo. Is it true? Is it true?
we have our own frustrations,
Exactly.
you know, and then even
And sometimes you feel like you hit the ceiling, and so you need someone to tell you, like, yeah, it's okay. I've done that too. Like the Me Too, you know, the Me Too movement. Yeah, me too. Kind of feel this way. Same way.
sometimes people see you like, oh, successful na siya, they have a business, etc. But then you have so many problems or challenges that you can't really share also to your staff because, you know. But then
It's weird.
yeah.
Because they're not part of that anymore.
Yes, and other entrepreneurs, of course, have faced that problem. They can help you with their insights. So entrepreneurship is not a lonely road. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who are willing to help you. Hopefully,
In the big picture, we see that because like a lot of entrepreneurs that I think so far, not a single entrepreneur that we send invite to and say, hey, do you want to be in the show and share your story? Not a single one of them said no, even though how busy they are. They will always say like yes, but when?
Yeah,
Just schedule it.
I saw you had bonfires.
Right,
You
yeah.
had all the girls.
So they probably didn't have the time, but they do take the time because they see they see that they can provide more value,
And they
a lot of
see
value.
the value that they can give.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they understand basically the path. that
Speaking of that, how do you start like an effective like drive? No? Like how can you really start? Because what's like the recipe? You've noticed a lot of tribes right now, and what do you think is a common recipe that made them like bloom? Because some tribes they last only for sometimes they start and they like end like a few months after starting. So what's like a good recipe for an amazing tribe?
There has to be a really, I don't want to say charisma, but a really, what do you call that? A visionary leader. A leader where people can synonymously see, oh, this tribe is this person.
Yes.
For me, that's one very important thing. And another is follow through. Be connected again to your. Don't just meet. Sometimes it's the momentum also. You know, like it builds up. If you don't build up to that momentum, it will die down, and it will be hard to recover again. Right. So I had a problem coming back here. I had to start everything from scratch, but again, for me it's the momentum. It's identifying one leader who will be dedicated to that cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's difficult to probably like fake it, right? Because you have to put in time, and time is something that a lot of people wouldn't be willing to give up without, like, if they're not passionate enough to do it.
And I think I got it from you, Joe. I mean, basically, it's from Seth Godin that the organization or the tribe can only go as far as the leader.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think this is just one. Another one is the importance of mentorship. Sometimes, let's say this one leader dies or retires, wala na yung follow.
Yeah.
And maybe as early as, as early as now, he would also find like a second right hand or something to
Succession plan.
yes,
Something
something
like
like that. Of course, some tribes are too early to say that, but then
Yeah.
I see this in business and I see this in tribes. Sometimes they die along with the leader. And I think that's something that we need to go. Like for me, when I was younger,
Right.
I was an entrepreneur when I was 21, fresh from graduation. Or even when I was in college, I was selling already. But I thought that I know everything. Like,
That age, we know everything.
yeah, that age where
You can do anything.
I don't need my parents. I don't need, But now, the importance of mentorship, like someone who will willingly guide you, I take into account the great value that you get from them. So find yourself a good mentor in a tribe or in a business. It's very crucial.
I like that.
Like that.
You will not see it when you're 21, when you're
Yeah.
younger. But now when I'm reaching 30,
There's also a reason for that. I think because when you're reaching 30, when you reach 40,
You reach 40, that's the time. When you reach 40, that's scary, no?
it's crazy.
so you guys can be my mentor.
No. One thing to say is this: as you grow older, you feel the value of time more than before. Because when you're 21, you feel immortal, and then later on you realize especially when you start having a kid, you realize I have to spend my time
Wisely.
yeah, more effectively, and then you see that you can easily skip some of the wrong things that you do by asking someone, right, who probably been there, right, and so that's
Yeah.
I know we've interviewed someone, his name is Fibo Lim, who convinced me to have a mentor, because he said it's easy to get, success is easier when you have a mentor, and he said just copy everything. And then you can and it's true, a lot
You
of
don't
things
have
are
to
repeatable.
reinvent the wheel.
A
Right?
lot of things are repeatable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really someone who just want become successful, right now it's really easy to find mentors.
And it doesn't have to be money all the time.
Yeah.
Success is if you growing your audience, building a platform. I can see that Elvin is doing that to you, right? He's helping you build your platform and all that. So.
Yeah, but there's also some people who really go out, like the outliers, and so there's also a good thing about that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
road less traveled, but yeah, awesome, right?
Oh.
So
Yeah. So anyway, we don't want to. We usually end. We usually end.
we can talk all day with Rachel.
Yeah, so much things to talk about. But usually end, Rach, with our learning from Dave and I. So Dave will start definitely.
Yeah, so tribes, I mean, be part of it. Be part of one. If you're, like I mentioned, what I mentioned earlier, just be part of a tribe that you feel you can belong to. Like, for me personally, I've also been looking for that. Like, a lot of that. I've been into mountaineering and surfing as well. I checked it out. So, I mean, and you'll end up with something that would really feel good for you. So, I would say that explore. Don't be afraid to. Sometimes, there are some sketchy groups out there. You have to be careful. Do your due diligence, and but as the moment you learn and discover more, I think that's the real meaning of life. Just enjoy, be part of groups, stand for something, and and you'll see that the world is really amazing. There's so many things out there happening, and you can be a part of that.
Couple of things. First, let me say hi. This is the URL for what's this? Alspace.ph,
Our sponsor, yeah.
our sponsor for the episode. Thanks, Alspace. First. That's point 0. Point 1 is I would say this conversation reminds me of like a quote: "You're the average of the 5 people that you constantly meet with." So I guess there's a lot of people who would tell me they're lonely and you know, it's just a matter of reaching out. There's so many people who wants to connect with you. There's so many people who wants for you to be part of, you know, their group and their tribe. And so like just reach out, find just, and then show up. And then of course, like, yeah, there are gonna be people who will waste your time. There are gonna be groups that are there for a purpose that other than what's they're advertising. But the point is, you will definitely you can easily pick that up because they're not gonna be as passionate as you, like in a specific thing. Like for example, like if you're passionate about dancing, and if they're just there to kind of like
Dating.
Meet ups.
yeah, right? You will know. You already have the spider sense to do that, to know that. So that's fine, and it's part of the dating process because you have to date the tribe, right?
Yeah.
You get to know them, and if you have the same, this is the reason why people would leave a certain tribe because they feel in reality they would feel like, oh, I'm incongruent with the certain belief and the things that the tribe stands for. So that's fine. But the thing is, like if you're lonely, then it's not because it's no other reason. I mean, you can do something about it. It's something that's fixable. Just type in something, and then, you know, there's a meetup.com, right? Where people meet up in certain interests, and you can be part of that. Just be open to possibilities. Who knows? You might find your spouse. That's
For the next business venture.
Business venture. Just kidding.
Alright.
So yeah. So I think this is just be open, and then the second thing, I like what you said about mentorship, and we can all learn something. We all need a little help. I think that's the idea. The idea is just reach out. And people that I've met so far, people have gained a certain level of success. They're so willing to help.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Exactly. That's what people initially think, like, oh, I don't want to reach out because he might keep secrets or he might not want to share what his valuable insights, but then you will be surprised that,
Or he doesn't have time.
yeah, he doesn't have time, but you'll be surprised that people actually like, you know, the Benjamin Franklin effect, like you
What's
ask
that?
them for a favor, and then
Yeah.
if they give it to you,
That means they like
they,
you.
they get to like
Yeah,
you. They get to like you. It's not you being nice to them, but then if you actually ask them a favor, they will end up liking you.
Oh really?
Oh,
You should
because
ask a lot of favors.
yeah, because people actually like
To help.
to help.
Wow.
They want to be seen also that they know something or that they can teach you something.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something new. Benjamin Franklin effect. Thank you.
Look that up.
You should
Ask
read
for more
books
favors.
Yeah.
like power books. With rules of power.
This is
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene.
Yeah.
Should read that.
I tried reading that.
It's too much for you anyway.
Yeah, I tried reading that, but I don't know. I feel like there's so much. I will learn much manipulation.
Machiavellian.
Alright, anyway. But Rach, thank you so much for sharing your insights. But we will not let you go yet
Yes.
because we're gonna ask you.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
move
go to
to
our lightning round.
We're so cheap to get afford
We're
that.
gonna buy that sound effects finally, like maybe like a year from now. So Rach, do you have a morning routine? And if you have, can you share it to our audience?
Oh, morning routine is just I have a son.
Yeah.
I'm a single mom, so that's normally how I start my day. I have breakfast together with him. I help him shower, get ready for school, and stuff like that. It's a good way for me to bond with him before I start the long day of business and work until I end late at night.
Right. So, do you have any resources or a book that you would recommend to both?
Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Yes,
Wow.
just that one, really. That's
I've
all.
heard about that.
Yes, please read it. Sapiens.
Sapiens.
So you will understand the fundamentals of human connection or humans is still applicable 3,000 years ago until today.
How about a show that you think would
Or a podcast. You know?
Oh,
Or an event.
or a Netflix show? Or, I don't know.
Oh,
like,
Netflix
people
show.
can easily
Everyone's on
get their
Netflix.
hands
everyone's
on
on Netflix. I'm not really crazy about anything right now. I'm more of a reader.
Yeah.
Shucks.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Podcast. Okay, podcast. I do like, of course, the basic economics
Right,
or
yeah.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Anything about systems, you will learn a lot.
Awesome. Thanks. Best advice you received?
Find a mentor.
Worst advice?
Listen.
All right.
Yes.
Worst advice?
Worst advice? Well, okay. For me, it's just, this is still important, like to do your business plan, to do your due diligence, do your proper research. I still do it, but at the same time, I don't do everything on the research before I jump into a business. There's this thing now called, what do you call it? Constant iteration, pivot.
Yeah.
So you,
Lean startup.
oh,
Lean
yes,
Lean startup.
being lean, always innovate or change step by step, not jump at anything at the same time.
Right.
So for me, that's one.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
do you consider yourself successful?
No. I mean, we always aspire to be better all the time. For me, as long as you create value in society, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Success is what you define yourself. That's what Aristotle said, right?
Yeah.
Like everything starts with the definition of terms. What is success to you? What is wealth to you?
Wow.
Yes.
All right. So next question would be, who or what inspires you?
My son
Yeah.
and Cebu.
Oh, amazing answer. No?
Thanks.
Yeah. So if you were gonna, like, you've given us a hint about this earlier. If you're gonna start, like, if everything's gonna be stripped away from you, like Thanos, like
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet, everything, like, not
You're gonna be transplanted to another Cebu-like
the
place.
Cebu-like place. You don't have any business yet. You don't have any money.
No
But you have-
connection.
but you have the no connection.
Just
but you
the
have
knowledge. Yeah.
What's like the first few steps to get to, like, start your own thing or start a business perhaps, or
I
what you're
don't
doing?
know anything. I don't have family. I don't have connections.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
it's
like,
like a new place that you start all over, like blank sheet.
Like, yeah.
What's your
And the assignment is to do something. Right?
Okay, first of all, just sit down in one corner and observe the whole day. For me, observation is important. Then you will find the problem. And for me, once you find the problem and you figure out a solution, some people see a problem, but entrepreneurs see opportunity.
Wow.
So just observe, really, and you will find that there are a lot of key problems that you can solve, and these solutions are worth money.
Awesome.
I like that.
Like that.
I'm gonna be sitting down in the streets later on the whole day to observe the topic.
Okay, that's the first thing you want to solve, right?
Yeah, if someone's gonna solve that, it's gonna be a billion industry, right?
Okay. So last question, Nick.
Yep. So I'm gonna ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh no, second to the last.
second to last, yeah. So a lot of our listeners, we've actually built this podcast, Rach, because we have we're eyeing at our brothers and sisters who went abroad, and like found or tried to find opportunities there, are still there, but they wanna, like, maybe perhaps go back to their families, to their loved ones, or for those who are here but they're stuck with something that they don't really like, and they want to perhaps start a business or create their own tribes. What's your, like, best advice for them?
Again, observation is key. This is hard. This is an interesting question, really. But for me, it all boils down again to observation. Like, what creativity is important. Like, what are your resources and what can you max out from that? Like, I think by observation you can learn a lot of things. You have your opportunities, a wealth of opportunities from abroad that you can bring here. Not all of them will work, but then if you localize it and if you see, like, what is the strength of, let's say, Cebu. And for me, I found human capital, human resources to be very strong. And the whole BPO industry sees this as well. So for you, if you are like a former, an ex-OFW, or you want to be based here, that's the same thing that happened to me. I want to move back closer to family. Just some proper reflection. Like, it won't come to you immediately. Some proper reflection will help. You can try it in small ways. Again, just pivot.
Yeah?
Just
Or
try
on the
it.
sides?
Yeah. You don't need to make a big commitment, like shell out 500,000 to see if an idea works. Nowadays, it's so easy to test a prototype and to start an actual business. But for me, it's just that start easy, bank on what you already have, your resources, your social connections, and it will be a lot easier.
Awesome. I love that answer.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So last question is the hardest question in the podcast. So if where can people find you and find your the things that you do, like tribes and all that? What are the things?
You're open to
Where did they? Where can they find you? Reach
You
you.
can find me in the events that I host, which is Story Night Cebu. You can look it up on Facebook.
There's one coming.
Yes, there's one coming this Friday. Joseph will be
Where
one
is
of the
that?
storytellers. It's in Graphic 9, which is also, my business.
All right, awesome.
So please look up Story Night Cebu, Slowest Night, Graphic 9, and Tribes PH. Yeah. And you'll see me also around the company events.
Yeah.
Basically. So the company Cebu, which is the biggest co-working space here, owned by a Japanese firm. So a lot of events there that I'm involved with. Yeah.
Right.
And add me on Facebook or follow me on.
You have a personal page like a
No, I don't.
celebrity page? Yeah.
Just add me on Instagram at.
Yeah. So you go.
People laugh at my Instagram. It's at Rachel Tagaisla. But I'm not from Lapu-Lapu or from.
Yeah.
It's
Cebu
Rachel-
as an isla.
I'm an island girl, I think. So just follow me there.
Alright.
Yes.
All those links will be placed in
Yeah, on our
show
on the show
notes
page. This is episode 57, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be thebigpicture.ph/episode 57. So yeah, you will find all the details there. Hopefully we can squeeze all of them in, and maybe with some quotes from what we had from
Yeah.
the
So many quotable quotes today.
yeah.
All right, Rach, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence here and being part of the show. We're just so excited to talk to you. I didn't realize that this can be like a 3-part episode. So there's so many
So
things
many things we can talk about. Yes.
All right. And guys, thank you so much for watching the live. If you were cut off from the previous one, this is the continuation to that. So it's for sure it's gonna be still in facebook.com/thebigpicture page. All right.
Slash the big picture. Right?
Slash the
Sorry.
big- All right. Okay. So Dave, any events coming up?
Yeah, we have one for you, like the vlogging event,
Yeah.
and also our how to start a podcast. We are gonna
March
do
23rd.
our third run for that, right?
Yeah, third run.
And what else? Anything else? So
How about you? Any?
Just if
Story
you
Nights.
guys can go to the Story Nights event this May 10, Friday, 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. The theme is risk. So you're gonna hear from storytellers stories regarding risk. It's a pay what you want event. So if you think the event is worth 20 pesos or 500 pesos, it's fine. Just come and listen. It's going to be more interactive actually. We changed the format a little bit.
Oh, nice.
So there's going to be time for us to ask the audience what they think or how they were able to resonate. Yeah, so again, we iterated a little bit the event.
Pivot.
Yeah, lean, So amazing. Hope to see you soon and for our future events. And I'll be here in Cebu City.
Yes.
Space guys, do you have something to announce?
Now we have an event here.
Yeah.
On May 25, right? So check it out for for aspiring
with Brian,
freelancers, Yes.
with Brian
Our
Padilla.
previous guest.
Oh, with you.
Ryan.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
me as well. I'll be
Yeah.
there.
So
And-
Dave, Brian, and 3 other guys.
Yeah.
4 or 5 other guys.
Alright,
Okay,
so guys, if you want more of these, you can actually share this episode or follow us on Facebook.
And we have a
Instagram.
growing number of followers in Facebook as well as in the group. I've been approving a lot of requests to be part of the group page, which is the Big Picture PH community.
Yes.
That's,
Follow us on Spotify, iTunes, and we really appreciate if you could leave us a rating or
Review.
Yes, that would help us be visible so that more people. I mean, if you've heard, this is the first time you've heard about podcasting. There's actually a tribe of podcasters, so check it out. And let's spread the news. I mean, podcasting is a good thing. It's more about learning. It's more about getting to know what we have here in the Philippines. So this show is basically for you guys. So.
right. So,
That's it.
with that, guys, this has been amazing afternoon. This has been me, Joe,
This is Dave
and
this is
Rachel saying goodbye. Thank you, Space.